You have a new podcast, though. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, part of what I like about my new role is I can do things like do a 4-part series.
This is intense.
It's intense. This is a story about a guy who's been on death row in Texas for more than 20 years. He was convicted of killing his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki, by shaking her to death. Shaken baby syndrome, you may have heard that term. I started following the story a year ago when a bipartisan group of Texas legislators came together and says, you can't execute this guy. There's no crime here. This didn't happen. Their argument, and the argument of many who are supporting him now, is that shaken baby is now a largely discredited scientific, analysis, and that therefore his defense attorneys are saying there really was no crime. They're pointing out to this young girl's horrible health history over her 2 years of life. She had more than 40 doctor and hospital visits, including episodes of not breathing. That it's not shaken baby, but that these same conditions, the same things that they found in the autopsy could have been present for health issues separate to that. So it's a really intriguing case. We spent some time in Texas literally knocking on doors, talking to people who knew the participants in this particular story. We found there were real questions about a lot of the evidence that was brought forth or not brought forth in some cases. I spoke to him a year ago. I spoke to him recently for this podcast. He's a very easygoing guy. He was discovered later that he has autism, which is important because part of the thing that worked against him was what people thought he didn't react emotionally enough in the emergency room. And that was later explained by his autism diagnosis. So there were a lot of questions, and we talked to people who haven't spoken to this. We talked to a juror, we talked to a police officer, the one who essentially put him behind bars, who is now calling for a new trial and saying he didn't do it. So there's this growing grassroots effort right now, but it's also a race against time. Literally a race against time.
Goodness. All right. Well, before we break, you want to make something clear, though, right? With this. Right?
Yeah, I want to make sure, that shaking your baby is never a good idea.
Sure.
I mean, so I mean that's really important. We understand that. And there's a lot of layers to the story. The prosecution says there was evidence of abuse, and some of those things were later not proven. But that's absolutely important to point out. Please don't shake your baby.
Absolutely.